Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 4 NBA player props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's NBA slate. But first, guys, before we dive into today's picks, unfortunately, we have to do a quick little recap of how I did last night. And spoiler alert, it was bad. One thing about us here at Guy Boston Sports, we are very transparent when we win and also when we lose. And unfortunately, the losses don't feel good. It never feels good compared to the wins, but you got to go ahead and show them because that's what it's all about. You got to be honest with the people. And honestly, we sucked last night. 0-4 across the board. It was just a terrible night in the NBA as a Celtics fan in particular. Obviously, we lose. We go down to 3-1. Tatum, most likely torn Achilles, which means not only is he done for this year, he's probably done for all of next year, which means the Celtics are probably going to blow it up this summer because of the tax stuff coming up. So say goodbye to Porzingis, say goodbye to Holiday, maybe say goodbye to Brown. You know, Horford probably going to retire. We went from having this nice possible mini dynasty thing happening to it all just crumbling apart in a matter of a week, really. And it's been rough. It was rough. Very very difficult night as a Celtics fan. I'm not going to lie. Some tears might have been shed after last night's game. I'm going to be very transparent with you guys. It was rough. Prayers out for Jason Tatum, by the way. He looked like he was in immense pain. Horrible. And then we go 0-4 in the video. And then on top of it, the NBA is rigged because Dallas, through all the stupidity, they get rewarded for it, and they get Cooper Flag, the number 1 overall pick. When I could go on and on about what happened. Last night in the NBA was one of those nights where it's like, why am I a fan of this sport? Now, some of that's sore loser talking with the Celtics loss, but like NBA, like make it a little less obvious that the Luka trade was rigged from the start. I mean, they had a 1.8% chance to win the number 1 overall pick, and that team wins the number 1 overall pick. Come on, give me a break. But yeah, so 0-4 night last night. Like I said, not a good performance at all. But you know what, guys? Today's a new day. We got 4 fresh new player props. And, we're going to go ahead and bounce back. That's what we always do. I say this all the time, guys. That's the beautiful thing about life. If you're lucky enough, you get the opportunity to wake up the next day and try again. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try again. Vibes were low last night, very low. But we're going to bounce back in today's video. 4 fresh player props coming your way right now. Jumping right to the outlier screen. By the way, guys, comment rigged. RIGGED, rigged down below if you're watching today's video because that lottery was rigged. And I'm not like a Wizards or a Hornets apologist or anything, but it's like those teams are genuinely pretty bad, and they're in small markets. They're never going to get better unless they build through the draft. And why? The lottery. This is why the NFL is better than the NBA. And I do have a deep love and respect. I have a long history with the NBA, but this is why the NFL is a better sport because they take care of the teams. The teams that need the pick get the pick. And yes, the whole anti-tanking thing, I get it. But teams are tanking anyways, and then they're getting like the 7th pick, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to tank again. They're going to keep tanking. The Hornets have been tanking for like 10 years now. This is what they do. You know what would stop them from tanking? If you just let them get the number 1 overall pick, and then they actually get a good player. And, imagine if we have LaMelo and Brandon Miller and Cooper Flag and Miles Bridges. That Hornets team, kind of interesting now. Wizards, you give them Cooper Flag, a little more interesting. But no, you give them the Dallas, who did one of the most dumbfounded thing ever. And they get rewarded for it, and now they have a really solid team with Cooper Flag. They have their future secured now. And Nico Harrison, who is a giant idiot, now looks like a genius. And it just, like I said, I could go on and on. I know you guys aren't here to talk about my commentary on the NBA, but really frustrating last night when it's so apparently obvious that Adam Silver rigged that lottery. All right, guys, with that 4-minute intro out of the way, our first player prop in today's slate comes from the Pacers-Cavs Game 5. Indiana obviously up 3-1 in the series. 7 p.m. tip-off here. We're going to get Benedict Mathurin of the Indiana Pacers over 14.5 points plus rebounds, minus 130 over on DraftKings. The data is honestly very solid here, and if you watched Game 4, obviously Mathurin got ejected. The whole scuffle with DeAndre Hunter, which it was more DeAndre Hunter, I think, than it was Mathurin. But obviously that game, he only played a couple of minutes, so not a lot of data there on him. He missed on that line, obviously. But prior to that, really good run. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 15.8 points plus rebounds per game over his last 10 games. Overall this season, including playoffs, a 73% hit rate on this over. 58 out of 80 games, Mathurin has cashed the over, averaging 20.66 points plus rebounds per game overall this season. And even in the head-to-head category, very solid numbers. 6 of his last 9 games, pause for applause, 6 of his last 9 games against the Cavaliers, he's cashed the over. That's a 67% hit rate, averaging 15.22 points plus rebounds per game across the last 9 matchups with Cleveland. He had cashed it in 6 consecutive games, including all 3 games of this series going into Game 4. And honestly, had he probably played the whole game, he probably cashes it again in Game 4. So we got solid overall data, solid recent data, solid head-to-head data, solid matchup. I do think you're going to piss off Mathurin because of the whole ejection thing. You know Mathurin's going to come here firing all cylinders in Game 5, ready to just push it right in Cleveland's face and eliminate them. So I really like Mathurin in this spot. The data supports it. Everything, the matchup supports it. Love this spot for Bennedict Mathurin. You do look at the minutes played here. If we narrow this down to the last 5 games, again, ignoring Game 4 where he barely played. You know, in this Pacers series, 23 minutes, 20 minutes, 27 minutes. He's been getting a healthy amount of minutes in these games, and the line's not that crazy high. 14.5 points plus rebounds is not that crazy at all. All right, guys, moving on. The remaining 3 player props in today's video are all going to come from Nuggets Thunder Game 5, 9:30 p.m. tip-off. Our second player prop overall and our first player prop from this Game 5, we've got Aaron Gordon of the Denver Nuggets over 18.5 points plus assists. I don't know what got into Aaron Gordon, but these playoffs started and he just channeled Michael Jordan. I don't know. It's like the movie Like Mike. I don't know if he got a pair of Michael's old game-worn shoes and all of a sudden the clutch gene has just been unbelievable. Or he put on, you could say, a pair of Kobe's. I mean, he's been unbelievable in these playoffs with how he's been performing for Denver. And honestly, he's a big reason why Denver still looks like a title contender. He's been great. But looking beyond just the clutch shots here, he's had pretty good numbers, especially with this line here. Over 18.5 points plus assists, minus 120 over on DraftKings. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. And if you actually narrow it down a little bit, it's actually 7 of his last 8 games. He's cashed the over. He's averaging 20.3 points plus assists per game over the last 10 games. So far this year, 52% hit rate on the over for Aaron Gordon. 32 out of 62 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 18.4 points plus assists per game overall this season. Again, look at those last 5 games, which includes all 4 games of the Thunder series and the final game of the Clippers series. 21.8 points plus assists per game over the last 5 games, 80% hit rate. Again, really good numbers. And even in the head-to-head category, 5 of his last 9 matchups with the Thunder, including 3 out of 4 games in this series so far, he's cashed the over. He's averaging 17.33 points plus assists per game across the last 9 matchups with OKC. But again, just focusing on this playoff series thus far, they played 4 games. He's cashed the over in 3 out of 4, a 75% hit rate so far in this series. And OKC, pretty solid defensively down low, but Aaron Gordon has found a way to get past that defensive matchup. The minutes have been healthy and consistent. Again, the one game where he missed it, he's the fewest games played in this series where the Thunder blew Denver out. He played less than 27 minutes, but the other games, 39 minutes, 46 minutes, 38 minutes. So the volume is certainly there. He's taking a healthy amount of shots. Didn't shoot the ball all that well in Game 2. Playing a lot of minutes, taking a healthy amount of shots, shooting the ball particularly well. So I really like what I'm seeing here from Aaron Gordon. Even the potential assists. The last 2 games in particular, 12 potential assists, 9 potential assists. So really good numbers across the board here for Aaron Gordon. All right, guys, our third player prop in today's slate. In our second player prop from this game, we got Isaiah Hartenstein of the Thunder over 19.5 points plus rebounds, minus 118 odds over on FanDuel. Again, really solid data across the board on this Hartenstein prop. 7 of his last 10 games, including 7 of his last 9 if you want to narrow it down a little further. He's cashed the over, averaging 19.3 points plus rebounds per game over his last 10 games. Let's go ahead and narrow it in a little bit. Focus in on the last 5 games. Again, all 4 games of the Denver series and the final game of the Memphis series. 5 consecutive cashes for Isaiah Hartenstein on 100% hit rate over his last 5 games, averaging 21.6 points plus rebounds per game over the last 5 games. So really good numbers recently. Again, the further you stretch it out, it's still solid. 70% over his last 10, 70% over his last 20, and 70% on the entire season for Isaiah Hartenstein. So across the board, a lot of green and a lot of positive data on this player prop. And even from a head-to-head perspective, 7 consecutive matchups with the Denver Nuggets, all taking place, well, except for one. This first one here is when he's with the Knicks last season, but 6-0 this year, including playoffs, versus the Denver Nuggets. But 7 consecutive matchups with Denver, he's cashed the over. 100% hit rate, averaging 23 points plus rebounds per game over the last 7 matchups. And again, so far this series, 4-0. So 100% hit rate so far in this series against Denver. And look at the rebound chances, especially the last couple games. 24 chances, 27 chances, so a lot of rebound opportunities. And honestly, he left a lot on the table. 10 in game 3, 14 in game 4, but again, had way more opportunities than that. You've also seen some steady increases in the minutes, 30.6 in game 3, 33.1 in game 4, so a nice steady increase in minutes. The shots fluctuate, which is the big concern here, is how many points is he going to score. But you do see every now and again, like in game 3, 14 shot attempts, again, didn't shoot the ball all that well, but they do look his way from an offensive standpoint every now and again. But you do see pretty consistently across the last 7 matchups, he's averaging about 10 shot attempts per game, but realistically, you're going to get at least 6 or 7 at a minimum. So I think it's pretty solid matchup, pretty solid data here. Denver defensively down low. They haven't been great. For minus 118 odds, I think it's pretty good value on a player prop that has a really solid cash rate from a head-to-head perspective, an overall perspective, and a recent perspective. That's our third player prop in today's slate. And wrapping things up, guys, our fourth and final player prop in today's slate, we're going Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets over 5.5 rebounds, minus 130 odds over on FanDuel. It is available on multiple sportsbooks for varying odds. Now, the recent data isn't as solid here, but the head-to-head data and the overall data are both pretty phenomenal on this player prop. 5 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 6.2 rebounds per game over his last 10. We go ahead and narrow that down to the last 5 games, including all 4 games of this series thus far. 3 of his last 5 games, including 2 out of 4 in this series. The last 2 games, he had 8 rebounds in game 3, 9 rebounds in game 4. But even looking at game 2, he just barely missed the mark. He missed it by 1 with 5 rebounds in game 2. So pretty good numbers, again, averaging 6.4 rebounds per game over his last 5. The key thing is the chances, right? 13 rebound chances in game 4, 14 rebound chances in game 2, only 14 in game 3, 13 in game 4, 7 only in game 2, and he still had 5 rebounds, and then in game 1, 12. So across these 4-game series, a lot of opportunities for rebounds. We only need him to get 6, honestly. And again, look at the last few games. He's averaging over 11 rebound chances per game over the last 4. You know, obviously the minutes kind of fluctuate there, 24, 25. Then you see 42 and 34. So definitely some fluctuation in the minutes thing. And Michael Porter Jr. in general, a very inconsistent player on every, not just rebounding, but for scoring, everything. You just never know what version of Porter Jr. you're going to get on a nightly basis. That being said, the overall numbers are not terrible. 66% hit rate on the year for Michael Porter Jr. 58 out of 88 games, including playoffs. He's cashed the over, averaging 6.89 rebounds per game this year. So again, pretty solid numbers across the board. And even from a head-to-head standpoint, really solid data. 10 of his last 12 matchups with the Oklahoma City Thunder, he's cashed the over. That's an 83% hit rate versus OKC, averaging 8 rebounds per game across the last 12 matchups. So a very healthy sample size here. He's played them 8 times just this season alone, including playoffs, and he's cashed the over in 6 of those 8 games. He cashed it in 4-0 in the regular season. Again, 2 of 4 so far in the playoffs. So really got good numbers across the board here for Michael Porter Jr. OKC versus small forwards this year, 21st rebounds allowed. So they were a bottom 10 rebounding team versus a 3 spot. Overall, they were a bottom 10 rebounding team in general. So it really is all dependent on what version of Michael Porter Jr. shows up tonight. But I do like the spot here. The data seems to suggest it's a good player prop. The volume is there. The minutes, especially the last couple games, has been there. So good matchup across the board for minus 130 odds. Pretty phenomenal value if you ask me. So guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. And make sure, if you guys haven't already, check out my baseball videos. I am on a heater right now. I know NBA has not been very inconsistent lately with the NBA. That's just kind of the playoff atmosphere. It is what it is, unfortunately. But MLB, we're on an 18-4 run since last Monday. So go ahead and check out my baseball videos. We are on a real hot streak there. And I know you guys obviously here for basketball picks, but the MLB picks are just as good, if not better. So go ahead and check those out. And guys, I'm back tomorrow. But until then, hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Tuesday. Let's go ahead and make some money.